Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Brunson.
And I am S. Foster.
This is the Viewers Anonymous podcast. What's up with you, brother?
Man, I can't call it, man. You know, just another day in the lab, man. I've been doing some research and stuff lately, man. I'm glad that I found out the things that I found out, man. So this is gonna be a very interesting episode, man. But how you feeling?
Yeah, and I'm feeling good, feeling great, man. Ready to get this episode on the road, man. Finally seen a couple movies I've been wanting to see, and you know what I'm saying, been checking out some other stuff, but you know what I'm saying, I'm excited about what we got coming up, man.
Definitely, man. So you gonna do the honors, man, of introducing this legend?
Oh, of course, man. This man is the godfather of black cinema, man. He's the reason that Hollywood is what it is today. He did a lot to help out Hollywood, especially during the time that the blaxploitation films came out, because around that time Hollywood was almost in bankruptcy. It almost was about to end. Blaxploitation films came out, and because of some of the movies that he shot, blaxploitation was able to kind of use his framework as a blueprint and create a totally new genre that kind of, you know what I'm saying, put the money in the pockets of the, you know what I'm saying, the fat cats in in LA, man. Also, man, it's very similar to the way that, you know what I'm saying, we did the Blade episode, but it's fairly similar to the way that Blade kind of, you know what I'm saying, upstarted Marvel, you know what I'm saying, on their way, when they were almost on their way out. But, you know what I'm saying, this man is a father to one of the most interesting dudes, you know what I'm saying, in film, and Mario Van Peebles. You know what I'm saying? Dude he's famous, but he's not like A-list celebrity famous. Like, everybody knows who Mario Van Peebles is.
Yeah.
But nobody can tell you how they know him. Besides, like, the movie part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But without further ado, man, we talking about the late great Melvin Van Peebles, man. Real quick, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. In 1932, he eventually moved to the Netherlands in his late 20s. He became he became an author, and then moving to the Netherlands, changed his last name, added the Van to his last name, and then he would sooner or later become a filmmaker, making various short films, and also writing even more books, but in French, which was a very interesting fact that I found out. I didn't know my man wrote a French book, but
he wrote more than one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know that. So he then created all these various short films, and then eventually he ended up creating his first American feature film with The Watermelon Man. And if you don't know what The Watermelon Man is, it is about a white man it's a black man who's tired of being a black man. He wants to, you know what I'm saying, get the good life of the white man, and his wish comes true. And then he realizes, you know what I'm saying, don't always think that the grass is greener on the other side. Great movie. People should go check it out.
Now I've been watching a lot of interviews on Melvin on the last couple of days. And from the way, now I haven't seen The Watermelon Man.
You never seen it?
I seen clips of it from I was watching this basically like, it was like this documentary thing that I was watching. And from my interpretation, what they were saying, it was the opposite of where he was white and then
I might have it
sitting
mixed
on
up.
the toilet.
I think it's the white man who ended up being the black man.
Yeah, he ended up being a black man.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about that was when they was talking to him about, so when he was having like production meetings and shit like that, because what they was going to do was they was going to use a white actor for that part and just have him in blackface. And then he's like,
all around.
Nah, he was like, nah, we ain't doing that.
So what
they did do, they did present the idea of having a white person play, because it seems like he's only white for a little bit of the movie. Like he's not really,
it's like
you know what I mean? Yeah. So then they're like, so Melvin was just like, yo, well, why don't we just do the reverse? We just have him have a black actor and have him be a white man.
Yo, and he looked crazy.
Yeah, but it was good makeup for that time though.
It was, but he looked crazy, bro.
Yes, he looked mad crazy. And for a film like that, man, to come out when it came out, like back in 1970, and to do the reverse and have a black man in whiteface, genius. I mean, completely genius. But Melvin is a genius. So to piggyback off what you were saying, so he went to the Netherlands, and so he also was going back and forth to France, stuff like that, and he wanted a director's card, because in France, or at least overseas in Europe, you had to have a director's card to do film, because he wanted to do films. So he said that he began being a journalist, and he said it took him like it was either 7 or 9 years to learn French, to the point where he wrote like a few novels and a journalist in French. So he was like, okay, so now I've written a few novels in the French language, so now can I get my director's card? So they finally gave him a director's card after being published in the paper and also being published in books. And then he come up with the concept of doing this short film called The Story of 3 Day Pass. Yeah. And dude, it was a black man and a white woman lead. Like they was in an interracial relationship, my guy, in 1967.
Yeah, it was also in France though.
Yeah, and it also was in France.
So it was pretty cool at that time in France.
Yeah, so it was like to learn those things about him. But then it's the crazy part. So when he got word that they was going to show the film in France, right? So he's in Amsterdam. You want to know how he got to France, my guy?
How?
He hitchhiked all the way there.
No shit.
Hitchhiked all the way from Amsterdam to France. So he gets there, and so they watched the films, and he was like, they loved them. So he's like, man, he said my face is soaking wet with kisses, and they giving me hugs and all this shit, and then they just left. He said he didn't get no deals, no nothing. He just said they loved the film, but like nothing really happened from him. So like he's a very interesting character, man. I found out that this dude was in the Air Force. This dude knew how to fly planes. Like Melvin, and then he's a very resilient person to be able to do the things that he did and to just take it upon himself to be like, you know what? I'm not gonna ask for nobody's help. Like, and then also he's like, if y'all not gonna let me do things the way that I want to do them, I just do them myself. And the perfect example, the perfect example is the movie that he gets to, I think was his biggest movie, was Sweet Sweet Badass Song.
Oh yeah.
So the whole story with that movie was he wanted to do the film. So he pulled a Nate Parker back in 1971. Like he was getting money from friends, all type of shit like this, because he wanted the movie to be the way he wanted it to be done. But then at the same time, he was like, I'm a difficult person. So he was like, usually when I tell somebody what I want, the way that I say it, he said I might rub them the wrong way. He was like, so I have a lot of people like leave the set. So my man he wrote Sweet Sweetback, he directed, he produced it, and he also produced the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he produce the soundtrack, but the soundtrack is actually opera.
Yeah.
And it's like, just sit back and think of the talents that this dude have, and to also be able to just be like, I'm not gonna let the industry hold me back. And then the most impressive thing about Sweet Sweetback Badass Song was they're really a lot. Like the whole fact that he put at the bottom of it, it says like it was rated X, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it was rated X was because when he took it to the MPAA, they denied the movie.
Yeah.
So because they denied it, he can't get a rating. So he ended up getting a rating X because they didn't take the movie. So he was
Mm-hmm.
like at the bottom it says rated X by all white jury, right?
Yeah.
Because the people that work for the MPAA were all white.
Right.
So like to hear that backstory, and then to also this film only opened up in 2 theaters in
Mm-hmm.
Detroit and Atlanta. That was it. And do you still know that this was the highest grossing? Maybe it been surpassed in the last couple of years, but I know at
Mm-hmm.
least up to 1995, this was the highest grossing independent film of all time.
Yeah, man, and guess who gave him a loan to keep it going and finish it up?
Who we got?
One William H. Cosby.
Yeah, he did. I remember him mentioning him giving
Yeah.
him some money. He was one
Bill
of the people
Cosby
that
helped him helped him, you know what I'm saying, get the capital to finish it up.
that is crazy, man. And
So
and for
that's how you
him
know he
to
was doing some good work, man.
yeah, look, I'm not gonna sit back and say that he didn't. And if
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't for Bill, he for number one, he changed TV.
Yeah.
He was the first lead black character in I Spy.
First black man on TV as a lead. Yeah, right.
Yeah, in I Spy. So like, I'm not gonna sit here and shortchange him. Like, I'm just saying that I was just never a huge Cosby Show person. Like
Mm-hmm.
when it was on, I fuck with it, but like it wasn't like, oh, 8 o'clock and come on, I gotta watch Cosby Show. Like I wasn't like that.
Well, to me, it's more than just the Cosby Show. Like I know we give that a lot of credit and credits because you know what I'm saying of its impact of what it did, and you know what I'm saying for the longest time it was one of the like it was the biggest show on NBC, for years actually.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying you got to remember like he had so many more, you know what I'm saying, so much more, you know what I'm saying, impact outside of just television. He also had film, you know what I'm saying? He had movies, he did stand-up comedy, he did boatloads of philanthropy, and then, you know what I'm saying, even things for children, man, like, you know what I'm saying, the Fat Albert cartoon. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the most iconic cartoons in television history. So he's done a lot. So for him to, you know what I'm saying, back Melvin Van Peebles with that, you know what I'm saying, to finish the film, it was amazing. And then you know the film was good because it was getting acclaimed by the Black Panthers, but because of the social commentary on it. So
Mm-hmm.
you know he was doing something right.
Yeah, and they also didn't like the title, but he fought for that. He was like, I'm not taking
Right.
badass song out of the title. He was like, 'cause that's what I wanted to be, and like just to know that this dude did everything, even down to the music for the soundtrack, and he is a very very impressive dude, man. Like, and did you know Shaft was written for a white man?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Shaft was originally a white dude, but
Mm.
him and oh man, who was the other director for that movie? Oh man, I forget what my man name is. Got the perm and the mustache. I forget what his name is, but like going into it, like yeah, Shaft was a white guy, and so
Mm.
Melvin had some say so in them switching Shaft into a black man,
Right.
and he
And
was
turn
like,
it
"What?"
into a black exploitation film.
Yeah, and he was like, what makes Shaft so great was the fact of he was basically doing his job. Like he could fit basically he could fit in rooms with white people, but he also was basically a hood legend. Like everybody knew who he was in the hood, basically. Like he could go
Yeah.
to the hood and be himself, and he also can go around white people and be himself as well.
Yo, can
And like,
you imagine? I don't mean cut you off, bro. But I just thought about this. Can you imagine if John Shaft was a white man in the
this
ghettos
whole
of
time,
America during the 70s, asking questions, trying to get information?
hey, in a black leather jacket.
Man, who is this jive ass cracker asking us all these type of questions, Jack? Man, I don't know. I would like to see that. I think that
Hey,
if they can redo that and come up with like the the reverse shaft, oh, that would be hilarious.
hey, but that was funny. But like I didn't know that. I didn't know that Shaft
Yeah.
was originally a white guy. But like Melvin, man, like for what he did and his impact on just I'm not and then like I watched an interview with him and Mario, and Mario was saying the one thing about my dad is with all this time, all the obstacles that he had to face, he never showed resentment. He was just
Yeah.
like he was like, yeah, they can hold me down, they can sit there, they cannot play my movie. Cause like, can you imagine 1971, dude? Like they only showing your movie in 2 theaters. And the
I
word of
mean,
mouth for this movie is so hard. Like you gotta think Detroit and Atlanta, like, dude, you still got LA
two
over here,
blackest
New York over
the
here,
two blackest cities in America.
two blackest cities, and for the word to travel to the point where it's the highest grossing film, independent film. Like I say, I would have to look at I don't know. And the reason I say 95 is because I watched the interview with Melvin and Mario when they was promoting Panther. And Melvin was saying at that time, this is the highest grossing independent film of all time. So that's
Yeah.
why I say I don't know what happened after 95. But
Right.
like to only be in 2 theaters, I don't think people understand how impressive that is to be in 2 theaters. Dude, there are 2 theaters in one zip code. Like,
yeah,
and we're talking.
but at the time you got to remember too, like a lot of those black exploitation films were indie films. They weren't backed by like major you know what I'm saying, like major film houses.
Yeah, but
So
Watermelon Man was though. That was
yeah,
done by Warner.
for sure. But I'm saying like for the most part, a lot of black films and a lot of films in general were a lot of black films ended up having to be indie films. So like a lot of the saying those great black exploitation films that we are used to seeing are
Dolomite.
for sure 100% independent. But a lot of the movies that came out around that time were backed by film houses because you got to remember like I want to say it's 1929 is the first time film is ever shown in America. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? You got to think it's only been 50 years, 40 years around that time. So it hasn't been the fact that, you know what I'm saying? Like film hasn't been out long enough to even really, you know what I'm saying, get that much attention. Like the first film, well, I'm not sure if anybody knows, but the first film ever made was Birth of a Nation. And well, I don't know, I don't want to say made, but the first film ever shown was Birth of a Nation. It was shown in the White House. And that's, you know what I'm saying, the beginning of the film industry. That's when Hollywood start popping off. But so from and I don't quote me on 1929 because it could be before that, but I want to say it was the 1920s. But from 1920 to 1957? Is that what you said? Or 75? I'm
No,
sorry.
well, he did. You talking about Sweetback, or you talking about?
I'm talking about Sweetback.
Well, he said in '95 that it was the highest grossing film
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
of all
like you
time.
gotta
Yeah.
think about that. Like everything from then on is usually, you know what I'm saying, it was usually backed by a major film thing. I mean, major film house. So for him to take that and bring it to two cities is first and foremost is very uncommon because you don't see independent films like that around that time. Because that was, like I said, that was like the start of, you know what I'm saying, that black exploitation era. And then for him to, like you said, end up creating the highest grossing film, you know what I'm saying? Like that's big stuff.
It's very big stuff. And I mean, but also we got to give him more credit. Like, I mean, look, dude, 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do I'm trying? I wish I could have been sitting in the room when Melvin Van People was talking to the people in Warner Brothers after they saw the movie and still released it. Like, Warner Brothers releasing a movie like Watermelon Man, like, dude.
I don't think that's a shocking thing in that time.
I do because this is before Sweetback.
I know what I'm saying. I don't think it's a shocking thing. You got to remember, man. Like this is like I said, it's only 50. Like first off, black people just got all of their rights in '64. So 14 years later, to see a movie like this is not shocking. Like race is still a hot topic.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like race is a huge topic. So I mean, to see something like that is not really shocking.
I feel like for what the movie stands for and like some of the jokes that was in it,
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, and then to have like they showed a clip of when he was sitting at the table and he was all black at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids was like, it's like, Dad, like if you've been out in the sun too long,
Yeah.
like they act like with these race jokes, like talking, and it's just. I guess I'm thinking like, now look, I don't know what Warner Brothers was putting out before this point, but I just felt like this was the first, at least, black director that they've had put out a movie under the umbrella of Warner Brothers. So,
Yo, Warner
and
Brothers is sketchy, my G. Like
which
super sketchy, my G. Like nigga, they got old ass cartoons of like Daffy Duck being in like a Nazi uniform, like all kind of wild ass shit, bro. Like, no, I'm dead ass shit. They got like
no, yeah,
they got full cartoons in German where this nigga is in a Nazi uniform. Like, yo, Warner Brothers is sketchy than the motherfucker.
listen, and
That's
that's what I'm
why I'm
saying.
saying like it's not shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, from that point of view, I can see what you're saying. Like they could go to both extremes, but then
Have
at the
you?
same time,
No, I was gonna
no.
say, have you ever watched the Animaniacs?
Back in the day, yeah, when
Okay,
I was a kid, yeah.
so it's on Hulu now. Go back and watch Animaniacs now, and just watch all the sketchy shit that used to be in them, bro. I'm telling you, Warner Brothers is wild, bro.
Man, yo, listen, all these people was valid, man. Like I
Yeah.
remember when they was first did the Disney Plus joint, and they was talking about how there would be like a discretion thing at the beginning, or there was some shit that they took out because of pressure from the media, because at the
Mm-hmm.
time everything was being canceled.
Yep.
So when Disney Plus became a thing, they had to put little warning labels on some of the shit, like
Yeah,
it can
in front
have
of
some
like Mickey
insensitive.
Mouse cartoons and shit.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, definitely, man.
Nigga,
But
they sketchy too. They got a couple of them joints where Donald Duck was also, you know what I'm saying, rocking the Nazi attire, rocking the Hugo Boss.
like, I mean, can we really be surprised? Because I remember
I
hearing
mean, not with
somebody.
Disney.
I remember somebody making a point, and matter of fact, it was Andrew. It was Andrew
Mm-hmm.
Schultz. He was making a point of like, for the times. Let's say we're talking about the 20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, if this was a way of life, can we really call them racist? And I was just like, now I know sometimes like Andrew be trying to do stuff to give like a good, you know what I'm saying, like
They create good
he's really
conversation.
good. He's really good at doing devil's advocate. He's really
Yeah,
good at.
for sure.
But like at the same time, it's like, if these are the times, And especially if we're talking about the 40s, you know what I'm saying? Because you got the war going on and all this type shit. Like, to put that uniform in, any time between, 1940, 1945, it's popular at that point. So, like, is it
I don't know
really
about
like,
that one, bro.
I mean, do you think it's really that shocking?
I'm not shocked at Walt Disney. Not at all. That nigga, I knew that nigga was a Nazi. That's why I said he had Donald Duck in the finest Hugo Boss.
True. This is true. But, but then at the same time, like, if we're talking about Watermelon Man, like, this was the first American film that he did. So he was able to get a movie done with Warner Brothers after coming back from France, after doing a couple of short films and a film over there. But they said that film was very successful. That one, the 3-Day Pass joint they did over there, they said it was pretty successful. And it was also, race brought up in that, but like they showed a scene where the black dude was with his white girlfriend at the beach, and like these three white dudes came over, and like they was kind of, you okay type of joint, you know what I'm saying? So, but he never shied away from that, man. Like he always he was just one of those dudes who was unapologetically black, but at the same time he did shit that made sense. Like he didn't like he wouldn't do, like, he also did things like this is gonna make me money. Like it wouldn't be like an all like black cast, wouldn't be like an all black people behind the film or behind the cameras and shit like that. Like he did shit that makes sense, because at the end of the day, to get in some of these rooms that he had to get in, and to also have that independent state of mind, and also bringing in Mario so early. Mario was in Sweetback as a kid, so Mario been acting for a very long time.
Yeah, forever.
For a very long time. And for him to pick up a lot of the things, like he seemed to be the most similar to his dad. And it probably was because they had something in common with both of them having the same visions. Because I remember Mario being asked what made him go behind the camera instead of acting. And he was like, well, the thing is, when you're an actor, he was like, all you really do is, read the script. There's really nothing that you could do. But he was like, well, if you're directing, you can create the vision for the movie. You can create the way that the character is. You can get involved in the casting. Like if it's something like, he might do a movie, but it might be only 2 other black people. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm the director,
I could change all that.
I could change all that, exactly. But then he also talked about how, his first movie being New Jack City, he was like, every project that he was given was New Jack City adjacent. He was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like that movie was successful. I'm glad of what I did, but also at that time, New Jack City coming out in 91, 92. You also got to think Boys in the Hood,
New
Jersey Drive, Fresh, like all this shit. Like there was a run of those type movies.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if Mario would have just had that simple mindset, he probably would have did all those movies. But he was like, no, I don't want to stay in that lane. He was like, no, I want to do other things. But he was like, they gave him a lot of opportunities. But like, what Melvin also did, he did the John David Washington and Denzel Washington thing before anybody did. He didn't give Mario anything.
Not at all.
He didn't give him anything. He was like, no, you got to do this shit yourself. So Mario was like, I had to go to Columbia. You know what I'm saying? To go to school. He was like, because my dad didn't give me anything. He was like, because at the end of the day, you're going to have to work for it. And so Mario getting where he is, he got that foundation from his dad, because his dad was like, yo, I want to do a movie like Sweetback, and I want to do it my way. So I'm gonna get the funding myself, and I'm gonna do the soundtrack myself. Like, how many people how many directors do everything? Where they write the movie, direct the movie, produce the movie, and produce the soundtrack. Who else is doing that? other than Spike?
Spike Lee, bro. Or I would say maybe Tarantino on a couple of them. But
Now
I mean, he ain't
Tarantino,
doing all of that, but he doing some of it, you know?
yeah, he's doing some of it, but also I think Tarantino has a hand in the music because like
Mm-hmm.
his movies always have like these like he at the end of the day he have good but music selections.
And he got a lot of eclectic music taste.
Yeah, and but it fits the movie
Yeah.
that he's doing though. It's
Yeah.
never out of place. Like he's really good at that. But like Melvin, man, like for him to do with it, I didn't even know. Did you know he was the editor of Boomerang?
Uh-uh.
I had no idea. He edited the movie.
I mean, well, that explains why it's such a classic.
Man, I'm telling you, man, this dude is listen, man.
I mean, listen, for him to do everything that he was doing in film and then to go to Broadway, right, in 71 to 72, do 2 shows and get 7 Emmy nominations. I mean, 7 Tony nominations, and then the next show get an extra nomination, like 2 shows and get 8 nominations off the back like that. And then after your first show, they so hype about you that the next one they let you produce it and direct it. That's big. And then in 77, this is one I gotta go look up because I did not know this. He was a screenwriter on the film Grease Lightning, but originally he was the director.
Mm-hmm.
Never knew that. Now I've heard about this film Grease Lightning for a long time. It's about Wendell Scott, who's the first black NASCAR driver, but I didn't know that he had a hand in that. So I mean, that just lets you know, just how much work he's been putting in.
Man, listen, you are not kidding, man. Like but then like, oh come on, man, I gotta bring this back. This dude learned a whole nother language, wrote novels in a whole nother language just to get in the door of getting a director's card. Because I think once you got one, it didn't matter which country you was in. This is like you just had to have one. And for him to, it's hard enough trying to learn Spanish to even have a conversation in Spanish or French or whatever. But to write a whole novel in another language in the 50s and 60s, I don't think people understand how difficult that is. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm glad that we're doing this because I'm pretty sure that some of this information that we're saying is news to a lot of people as well. But what I was able to pick up, man, the last couple of days on the things that he was doing and the impact that he had and the people that he affected, because he affected a person like a Spike Lee. Like there wouldn't really be a Spike Lee without a Melvin Van Peebles. And for his offspring to be just as good, well, one of his offspring to be just as good as he is, and to have pretty much a lot of the same visions that he had. Like I was watching an interview and they asked, have they ever, like, do they ever have, with them both being strong-minded the way that they are, he was like, have y'all ever butt heads on, like, when y'all do a film together? And because they did Panther together, and he was like, nah. He was like, we put our heads together and be like, he had an idea of this one thing, I had an idea of this other thing, and we was able to compromise and use both. So like, and to also to do a film like Panther. Now Panther, that's probably my favorite movie that he's been involved with.
Yeah.
And they also show the I hate because I forget that dude's name, but they play out the shootout in front of that one building where Eldridge Cleaver told the 15-year-old boy to get completely naked so they don't shoot you.
And he end up still shooting.
Yeah, they played that out, in the movie. and he also had a lot of other things. Like he was one of the people who spoke in
It was Bobby Hutton. I'm sorry, Bobby Hutton.
Bobby Hutton. Yeah, that's what it was. But he also like he got credited for it, but that's only because he was one of the people that you know how they have like people interviewing for like a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the people who spoke on the Black Panther mixtape. 1967, 1975.
Yeah.
So he was one of the people who spoke on that as well. But that was done by a whole Swedish crew, like dudes that came from Swedish came over here and did a whole documentary on the Black Panthers. And Melvin Van Peebles was one of the people who spoke in that. But yeah, Panther was one of my favorites, man. I just think the way that it was done, I think that was a story that needed to be told because the perception of the Black Panthers have always been shown in a negative light. And for them to do this movie, but like I say, at this time, in that mid '90s, like, well, really, if you really think about it, we have to credit somebody like Eddie Murphy as well, because when Eddie Murphy popped up on 48 Hours, and that was another movie. That character was supposed to be a white person. But I forgot how Eddie was able to sneak through the cracks. You know, he was having his run on SNL, and you know, he did the if I'm not mistaken, I think Delirious came out before 48 Hours. Or it might have come after. But anyway, what I'm saying is he was like one of those like modern day black leads where it was like, oh shit, maybe we can get, you know what I'm saying, a black lead, you know, in this time. And like that kind of, and then John Singleton doing his thing in 91 with Boys in the Hood. So you had a lot of those, because it was kind of like you had the black exploitation films in the 70s and shit, right? So then it kind of fall off a little bit again, but then this black resurgence came back in the 90s. So that was the perfect time for them to do that Panther movie. But I think the way that they did it and the stories that they told in that movie, that is one of my, well, that is my favorite movie that's involving Melvin Van Peebles, man. And Mario was also a director in that as well, so you got to give him credit as well. But like,
yo, you know, he was in Jaws: The Revenge.
Yeah, he was in Jaws. Yeah,
this nigga's in Jaws. He was on Living Single. He was in the Shining TV series. This nigga's he was in Fist of the North. Now that I didn't know. I didn't know he was in Fist of the North Star. That's crazy.
Man, listen, this dude, man, he is definitely something else, man.
My man
and we
was
don't,
a musician and everything, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This dude did a whole soundtrack, man, in orchestra. Like that's just, he also was a writer in one of the songs that they used in the Tony Awards in 1972. So Melvin, to think of someone, I mean, just look at just like accomplishments like this, like, you know, the saying, you can either a master of one and be a master, like,
you could be a jack of all trade, master of none.
Yeah, for this dude to be able to be in the Air Force and fly a plane, to be able to learn a whole nother language and write novels in a whole nother language, direct a movie in French, come over here and direct a movie for Warner Brothers in The Watermelon Man, his first American movie, to be able to fund and start an independent film to where that film would be the highest rated independent film of all time, to be able to do, like, dude, you know what that sounds like? Melvin Van Peebles is the real life Black Forrest Gump, dude.
Facts.
That's who he is.
He the Forrest Gump of Hollywood.
He's the real
the entertainment industry.
Yeah, in the entertainment industry, like just to be able to do the things that this dude went to war, dude. Like,
that nigga was on Broadway. That nigga was in Hollywood. He did music, wrote books, did art. He was an artist too.
See what I'm saying? Yo.
Yeah, he got a famous painting called A Ghetto Mother's Prayer.
This dude is a genius, man.
Yeah, man. He's the man.
Like, and I'm glad that you brought this up, man, because I wasn't able to, like, I had heard of Melvin Van Peebles, but like I knew more of Mario because it was just, with me being, because like the thing is, my parents didn't really like watch black exploitation films. Like I seen Shaft, like I mean I think that was just one of those things that, especially like living in the house with my dad, like Shaft, Black Man, what I'm saying, Cop, because my dad used to be into like The Heat of the Night, which he did an episode or two, or I forget how much he actually did, but he's credited for some of the stuff of The Heat of the Night. So like like I seen Shaft, but like, and later on I ended up seeing Superfly, but like I didn't really see a lot from that era.
Oh man, I seen Coffee, I seen Black Mama, White Mama, I seen all the Shafts, I seen the Mac, I seen Superfly, I seen the Black Gestapo, I seen Blackula. I seen all the Blackula movies. Where I done seen everything, man. I ain't gonna say everything, but I done seen a lot of black exploitation films. But yeah, that's just the household we grew up in. Like, a lot of them, I end up like catching myself because like I knew of, the actors and actresses, but like some of them, like Shaft, that was one of the ones that I've seen, just chilling in the house before. And it wasn't like my mom was just playing them or nothing like that. But, I knew of those people because she would tell me stories about, watching movies like that. My grandmother would talk about, watching movies like that. So I always knew the significance of those movies. Now, when it comes to like the Mac, when it comes to Superfly, and when it comes to, like the Black Gestapo and all them, those are the ones I'll end up finding out on my own. Those are, that's the ones that I was like, oh, this, it gets real in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So that's, I mean, after a while, though, I was, like falling in love with those movies. Like, that's what, that's when I knew how bad Pam Grier was in Coffee and Black Mama, White Mama. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And, but you got to credit Quentin Tarantino for bringing her back with Foxy Brown, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that was another dope thing, because I think the people were starting to slip on her. And
she ain't losing no steps.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. But then at the same time, like that movie was, like she and Samuel L. Jackson was leading that joint. So,
But it ain't the same thing as them joints though, trust me. It was I'm trying to think, what's the other one? It's Coffee, it's Black Mama, White Mama, is I think it's Cleopatra Jones. That was one
Cleopatra Jones.
That was one of them. But I don't think that was her though. I think that might have been somebody else. But it's a couple of them though. They got a whole bunch of them joints, man. If y'all ever get a chance to go check them out, if you're listening, do your due diligence, man. Go back and watch them. Listen, you will not be disappointed. When I tell you just the fashion, the language, the way that the movies are shot, like even going back and watching the old Dolomites is hilarious. Like I know in the couple scenes in some of the movies, like they'll be talking and how like in the midst of them talking, they zoom in when they trying to do the serious face. Like you'll see the boom mic hovering over him still, and you see the shadow of the boom mic on him. Like, bro, it's you could tell like they were being as professional as possible. They just didn't necessarily have the right funding for it. But man, listen, they are great movies, bro. Like nothing is ever gonna be as serious as when Priest told Eddie in Superfly that he wanted to get out the game, man. He said, "What? What do you mean, man?" He said, "You got all you could ever want." He was like, he said, "Man, you got the finest cars. You living in a high rise. You got all this cocaine. And man, white bitches." It's like, what do you mean, baby? Bro, that is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life, bro. Like, that's the best motivational speech ever, man. Them movies alone, bro, I don't know, bro. Just watching them like now, especially now as an adult, when you can understand what's going on and you know what was going on during the times, like to see that, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of the positivity that was in a lot of those films too. Because, you know what I'm saying, it was either about getting out of a game or it was about, you know what I'm saying, trying to do right by the people. And, you know what I'm saying, there was a lot of unity in the movies too. So to know that, you know what I'm saying, Melvin Ben Peebles had a lot to do with that and a lot of bringing them out and kind of creating that blueprint for them. Man, that's dope. Like, I mean, seriously, without him, it's a lot of stuff we wouldn't have today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because then you also have to look at his offspring, like the shit that he done. I mean, he gave us New Jack City.
Yep.
Like we wouldn't have got New Jack City. Posse probably wouldn't have been what it when.
Yep.
Like, and I think that both of the Van Peebles, man. Like I don't think that, because like you said, like Mario isn't a A-list actor.
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to people like Spike and like Denzel, like people of like that age group, I think that they probably hold Mario
at the time, Mario Van Peebles was the man. Like, don't forget, dude was in soap operas. Like he was one of the most sought after, you know what I'm saying, like heartthrobs in the soap opera days. So for sure, like when I say people know who he is, but they don't know why they know him, I mean like people our age. You know what I'm saying? Like we know who Mario Van Peebles is, of course, because we do, you know what I'm saying, a movie pod and a television pod. Plus, that's all we do is watch movies and television. But it's a lot of people that know who he is and be like, man, I know dude from somewhere. Like, who is he? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Like, as far as that recognition, like he's one of those guys where you could see him and you just be, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll slightly be lost. Like, man, where do I know this dude from?
Exactly. Like, dude, this dude, he did in 1989, he did 3 episodes of 21 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like he did Posse, he did Panther. It was a TV movie called Gang in Blue. Like now that might, but he redid Badass.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was a documentary about him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dude, he did 3 episodes of Law and Order.
Mm-hmm.
Came back, he did 1 episode of Lost. And then even as of late, he did I'm talking about Mario, y'all. He did 3 episodes of the Wu-Tang American Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Power Book. He did a Power Book, Raising Kanan. He did the Salt and Pepper movie, which I didn't know he did that Salt and Pepper.
I didn't even know Salt and Pepper movie.
He did 1 episode of Power. He did 5 episodes of Empire. So like he's still doing some shit, but like 4 episodes of Being Mary Jane. Oh, I didn't know he did 1 episode of Roots. When you remember how they redid Roots?
Yeah, I didn't.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, I figured you didn't
watch it. See, the thing is, like, I think the reason I watched it was because I didn't remember the first one as much. Because when I watched the first one, I was pretty young, and so I just kind of like rewatched it to see, you know what I'm saying, the whole story of it or whatnot.
Yeah.
But Yeah, man. Like the whole Van Peebles, man. Like, dude, you know Mario got 108 credits acting, 50
Mm-hmm.
directing, 15 producing, 12 writing.
Yeah.
That is
He
nuts,
definitely he
man.
definitely stepped in his father's footsteps and left a hell of a legacy.
That he did, man. He did. I'm glad you brought this up, man, because I didn't know this much about Melvin. I didn't know that this dude just picked up and just started a whole career, dude,
Mm-hmm.
in the fucking Netherlands and learning French.
That's
Like,
the fact that he was overseas doing what he did, and then to come home and be able to do what he did and use that experience there to, you know what I'm saying, gain the traction that he did is amazing. And it's just a testament to, you know what I'm saying, to show people that, you know what I'm saying, as long as you put your best foot forward, man, it ain't really nothing you can't accomplish.
yeah. And if you don't want to depend on anybody else to do it, you do it yourself.
There you go.
And but this is the thing though, that people also got to understand. Like for people that are in our age group and younger, shit, me and you can make a movie right now with our fucking
Yeah.
iPhone.
I mean, shit, you got people doing it all the time.
But to do this in 1970 and your movie come out in 1971, like
Mm-hmm.
all the equipment that you need, you got to be
Mm-hmm.
able to edit it. You know what I'm saying? You do your own music, like
And it ain't
it's
ain't no laptops, ain't no
it.
nothing like when you editing, you cutting film and gluing film together, and you know what I'm saying, trying to make sure the sound is, you know what I'm saying, right on track and all that. Like it's a real live thing. Ain't no laptops, ain't no, you know what I'm saying, uh ain't no editing softwares, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no Audacity at the time. It ain't none of
Yeah,
that.
I
You know
don't,
what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
think people understand how difficult it was for him to do that, but also
Yeah.
how difficult it was to be a credited writer in
Mm-hmm.
a whole nother language that you took a couple of years to learn. Like
Yeah.
this dude was
Yeah.
resilient, man. He was
It was
fucking
the truth,
resilient.
man.
So yeah, this was very informative, man. It was fun learning more about Melvin Van Peebles, man.
For sure.
I'm gonna try to cause I tried to find some of the movies you can't find. I tried to find Sweetback.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really find it anywhere, man, on streaming. So I'm gonna have to keep looking, man. And if I have to, I still got a DVD player somewhere around here. You know what I'm saying? Might
Yeah.
have to see if I could see if I can
Good
find
luck
that bad
finding
boy.
that.
See if I can find that bad boy on Amazon or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Shout out to the peoples, man. Rest in peace. You know, we just lost him last year, late
Mm-hmm.
last year. So
Yep.
shout out to that whole family, man. Cause ended up being two legends out of there.
Yes, indeed, man. So, you ready to get to coming soon?
Yes, sir.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
All right, man. So, y'all already know what it is, man. Coming up next episode, season 5, episode 4 of Snowfall. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get to it. Can't wait for it. Some interesting stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah,
Some things might be revealed. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Who knows?
true.
Um,
But I gotta make a confession.
what's up?
I learned something. So dancing Idris did a interview with the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
So Angela Yee ended up feeling the way I feel about V.
Mm-hmm.
He shared a story that it was
Oh
something
yeah,
that they
she
didn't
was the
show us.
lawyer. She
She
was the
was his
lawyer
lawyer.
of the other family
Yeah,
or something. Yeah, yes, I heard
yeah.
about that.
And I'm like, damn, like why y'all didn't show this? It would make more sense if y'all would have showed it. Because I didn't know. I thought the family laid down and just gave him the bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that they went into a whole fucking lawsuit and she was the one who represented him.
Mm-hmm.
So to find that information out, okay, now it makes a little bit more sense because now
Yeah.
it's not that she's only been around for a year and a half. She's
Mm-hmm.
actually known him for a couple of years now. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. I still think it's still a little funny, but at least it's not a year and a half of time and she
Yeah.
knows everything. But you know, this episode from the preview I saw, it's gonna be action packed. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be action packed this time. And police is cracking down hard. You know what I'm saying? I saw the high ass detective. Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready for them to off him already, man.
Yeah. So yeah.
I really hope they don't do the Irene thing that they did, man. Like, kill him off early, get him out the way. I'm sick of dude. I don't like him. He make light skinned dudes look bad, man. I don't like dude at all, bro.
Hey, I think he's gonna be around for the season, man. I got a feeling it's gonna be another Irene situation, man.
Probably.
But yeah, so he's starting to crack down on the hood. So you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be an interesting episode coming up, man. This show it just keeps getting better and better, yo. Like, you don't really see this in a lot of shows. Like, usually it'd be like the writing starts to fall off. Because I told you I was worried about season 4 because John passed after season 3.
Yeah.
So I was like, now I trust his judgment. Like, Walter. Is it Posey? Mosley. Walter Mosley is one of the writer dudes that came up with John Singleton.
Oh, okay.
So he's one of the people because he ended up doing an interview with Jamel Hill after John Singleton died. And so they talked about their relationship and how he was continuing the writing and stuff on Snowfall. So he's doing a great job, man. So I'm glad I remember his name. We got to shout him out, Walter Mosley. If I'm not
he's
mistaken.
killing it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of carrying that mantle of John Singleton.
For sure, man. Listen, man, if you guys like the episode, you know what I'm saying, if you enjoyed learning about the great Melvin Van Peebles, you know what I'm saying, hit us up on the socials on IG and Twitter at ViewAnon on Facebook at VA Pod Watch Group. Also, you can hit me up on Twitter at Scoots Bronson. Follow me on TikTok at Scoots Bronson TV.
Yes, sir. Y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and Twitter at 28 minutes or less pod. Still rocking with the Euphoria episode. Look, y'all don't have time to watch it, so go listen to that season 2 breakdown that I did of Euphoria. It's on all major platforms. It's episode 76. So I appreciate all the support on this, especially this podcast and that podcast. So appreciate everybody. And also, man, leave us some reviews, man. Let us know what you think.
For sure, man. Hey, so you already know, man. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. We will see you, or you will hear us on the next episode. Can't wait, man. The Snowfall reviews be the joint. Yes, and with that being said, man, like I said, Hollywood, that's a wrap.
Cut.